Welcome you all in this educational video. Today we are learning about lesson number 8 and the name of the lesson is self-employment. This is part 2. Self-employment. Let's understand the meaning of self-employment. Like I am a person and there are different kinds of work, NGO, and I am going to beg for a job at some place. So, to start myself any business, that is kind of known as self-employment. Self-employment has various characteristics. Let us discuss them. The first one is it is owned by the one person only. The second important characteristic is the owner works alone or with less member. Third point says that earning is not fixed. It depends upon the output only. Fourth point explains the owner takes all the profit, and if there is any loss, that is also of the owner. This explains that self-employment requires a capital investment, not the small investments or small amount of money, but a big amount of money. Sixth point explains that the owner is free to take decisions. Let's now understand the importance of self-employment. It has various features. Let us now discuss. The first feature explains that advantages of small businesses. The second feature explains that self-employment is really better than any job. Why is it better than any job? Just you can consider it in this way, as if we are going to beg for a job or to look for a job. The next point explains that important is that there is a spirit of entrepreneurship in self-employment. So that is the most important feature. The fourth point explains there are different kinds of services, and if the person is really working good, then there are promotions of individualized services. Fifth point explains that there is always a scope of creativity. A person can be creative and work accordingly. Sixth point explains that when there are less jobs than if we are self-employed, then it is really good that there will be less unemployment. The seventh point explains that people, when are highly educated, like PhDs or engineering or different higher educations they have, and there are government jobs also, if a person is not that much educated with a higher education or without a higher education, but any person who is highly educated or less educated can really start any work. So this is good for those without higher education and really can make a lot of profit. Let us now understand different avenues of self-employment. These are 4 in numbers. The first one is trading. The second one is manufacturing. The third one is professionals. Like we have Apple, or there are different companies which are considered to be professionals. The fourth point says about individualized services. Let me explain this with example. In government, we are called for different works, and for example a party or conference, we have to go in train, in flight, or with any mode, we have to book the tickets. So these are the services which are known as individualized services. Let's now understand the meaning of small business. Sometimes the business is really big, but now here we are talking and understanding about a small business. If the work is really big, there can be big mistakes. So if we are talking about small business, so we need to understand every aspect of it. Let's now understand the characteristics of small business. Let me explain it point-wise. The first point explains that there is one boss, or there are few people only. The second point explains that the owner of the work, he is working every day. It's not that he has started the work and not working. No, he has to work every day. It is responsibility of the owner. The third point explains that owner is taking all the decision alone. The fourth point explains that there are limited areas of operations and also the work is limited. Fifth point explains that the person really has to work hard, very hard, to make any profit. Sixth point explains that the owner uses only the local resources available. The owner has to first find out the resources and accordingly has to arrange for the local resources and work. Seventh point explains that the result period is short, so you can have profit in less time. Eighth point explains that the operations are flexible as per our flexibility. Let's now understand about the small business types. So in this small scale industries, it has a limit of rupees 1 crore. The second one is tiny industries. It's a really small industry and the maximum limit for investment is rupees 25 lakh. Now the third type of industry is ancillary industrial undertakings. It has the maximum limit of rupees 1 crore. But the production is greater than 50%. Fourth type of industry is village industry, and per person investment is 50,000. If there are 2 people, then it will be 1 lakh. If 3 people, 1,50,000. Accordingly, investment would be varying. The fifth type of industry is cottage industries. You must have seen people making things with hand, you can say handicrafts, different handicraft, art. So they are cottage industries. The sixth type of industries are micro enterprise. These are not the big industries, these are the small units, you can say micro enterprises, and the maximum limit of investment is rupees 1 lakh. The seventh point explains about the small scale service and business enterprise, and the maximum limit is rupees 10 lakhs. Now the eighth point explains about the trading unit, like we have different biscuits or bread, and there are different trading units you all can see nearby your home, everywhere. So those are all known as trading units, market retailers, shops. Let's now understand the importance of small scale business. The first one is employment. It gives employment to people. The second point explains about the optimization of the capital invested. The third point tells about the balanced regional development. When sometime there is any factory and it is really increasing and developing faster, so it should have a balance. The fourth point is about the mobilization of local resources, like sale, or when there is a good profit in a small business, we have a local area for sale or selling things. The fifth point explains about the, if there is own production and we have a place to sell our product, then we can export our promotion. The sixth point explains about the consumer surplus. Seventh point explains about, like earlier I had explained about a small business, now this one is a little different. L is large business. When it's really a big business and we need some marketplace for selling. So it's a kind of feeder to large scale industries. Let's now understand the scope of small business. A, it explains about manufacturing, servicing and repairing. The second word is servicing and the third word is repairing. When there is any default or there is any error, then we do the repairing work. The B point explains, this is construction. C point is financial. D is retailing. E point explains about the wholesale business, when we have to just sell not in small quantity but in big quantities, so that is wholesale business. F is about the transporting. G point explains about the public utilities, general things which people use. H is communication. Government policies towards small businesses. It has also few points we will be discussing now. The first point explains about the easy and cheap loans. Government has a less percentage. Second point explains about 800 items reserved. Third point explains about no sales tax up to rupees 1 crore. If it is below 1 crore, then you need not pay any tax. Fourth point explains that when they prefer small businesses for use. Fifth point explains that banks are set up for help. Sixth point explains that micro, small, medium enterprises are set up. Seventh point explains that government policy has this rule, investment limit is rupees 1 crore. This is the limit. It should not go beyond 1 crore. Eighth point explains if there is any work, then 12% subsidy for technology sector. The ninth point explains about the ISO 9000 rating. Rupees 75,000 is to all with having ISO 9000 certification. Tenth point explains DHPY means set up for support to handloom. 11th point explains about there is 24% stakes by other industries. 12th point explains there are different sources used, so cheap land, water and electricity. 13th point explains about the special incentives for rural areas. 14th point explains about provide developed land to SSI. Let's now understand the institutional support to small business. First one is NSIC Limited. In the year 1955, it stands for National Small Scale Industries Corporation. The second one is SSIDC. It stands for Small Scale Industries Development Corporation. The third one is NABARD, NABARD, in the year 1982. It stands for National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. Fourth one is SIDBI in the year 1990. It stands for Small Industries Development Bank of India. The fifth one is SISI. It stands for Small Industries Service Institutes. The sixth one is DIC. It stands for District Industries Center. Thank you.